I've gone back and forth for weeks about whether I should even write this down. A part of me thinks that putting it into words will make it more real, that somehow writing it out will give it more power. But another part of me, the part that still wakes up at night to the sound of whispering, thinks that maybe if I tell the full story, it won't feel like it's only mine anymore. So here it is. It started last fall. I've always been interested in forgotten places, the kind of buildings people just leave behind, where dust and rot take over. I don't really know why. Maybe it's the mix of history and death you feel in those spaces, like the walls are still holding on to every memory, good and bad. That's how I found St. Augustine's Church. It stood on the edge of town, a few miles down a rural road that most people didn't even know existed anymore. I'd seen it once or twice when driving past, the spire cracked and leaning, the stained glass windows long shattered. Locals avoided it. I only learned why later. But at the time, all I saw was another abandoned building waiting to be explored. I told myself I'd take some pictures, maybe upload them to a forum where people share this kind of thing. A little harmless urban exploration. I thought I was in control. It was a gray Saturday when I went, the kind of morning where the sky feels too low, like it's pressing down on everything. I parked my car about a half a mile away so no one would see it and wandered up to the church on foot. From the outside it looked wrong, not just old or broken down, wrong. The front doors were chained, but one of the side entrances had rotted away enough that I could slip through. The air changed the second I stepped inside. It was colder than outside, even though the roof had huge holes where sunlight spilled through. The smell of mildew and something sour lingered, mixed with old wood and dust. The nave stretched out before me, pews scattered, some splintered. The altar at the far end stood mostly intact, though the crucifix that once hung above it was snapped in two, lying face down on the cracked stone floor. I took pictures. That's what I told myself I was there for. My phone camera clicked in the silence, but the silence itself was wrong. No birds, no wind, just stillness. And then the first thing happened. A whisper. At first I thought it was my own breath echoing, but no, it was too clear, like words spoken too softly to understand. I froze, phone in hand. The sound came from the far right corner, near a set of doors that likely led to the sacristy. I told myself I was imagining it. The mind plays tricks in empty places. But when I checked the photo I had just taken, my stomach dropped. In the corner of the frame, near those doors, was the faint outline of a shadow, human-shaped, but stretched, wrong in proportion, like the limbs were too long. And I had been alone. Most people would have walked away. Most people would have deleted the photo and laughed it off. But I couldn't. That night, I lay awake, staring at the picture over and over. I zoomed in until the pixels broke apart and still that shape was there, watching, waiting. I told myself I had to go back. Over the next week, I read everything I could about St. Augustine's. That's when I found out its history. The church had closed down in the early 1980s, after a string of disturbing incidents, reports of strange chanting during Mass, parishioners collapsing, children speaking in voices not their own. An exorcism had allegedly been performed there, but no one spoke openly about what happened. After that, the diocese abandoned it. Rumors spread. Some said it had been built on cursed ground. Others claimed that priests themselves had conducted dark rituals there. I couldn't find confirmation. Just whispers, half-forgotten records. The one thing every account agreed on. People who went inside, often left, changed. Still, I returned. This time I brought a flashlight and a notebook. I told myself I'd document everything properly, like some kind of investigator. Inside, the air felt heavier than before, like stepping into a room where someone had just been arguing. My footsteps echoed too loudly against the stone floor. I explored the sacristy first, the place where I had seen the shadow. The room was a mess of broken furniture, moth-eaten vestments, and overturned chalices. But on the far wall something caught my eye, a series of scratches etched into the plaster. At first, they seemed random, but the more I looked, the more I realized they formed words. not in English. Latin. I don't speak Latin, but a quick photo and later translation told me the words were, "The body is a door." I left quickly after that. But that night I woke at exactly 3:17 a.m. to the sound of whispering in my bedroom. Too soft to make out. My phone, still on the nightstand, buzzed with a notification. I picked it up and froze. The photo of the scratches had changed. Now, beneath the words, there was a dark smudge that hadn't been there before. A shape. It looked like a handprint. I should have stopped. I know that now. But obsession is a funny thing. It convinces you that you're searching for answers when really, the answers are already searching for you. I went back a third time. The church greeted me like it had been waiting. The air was thicker, heavier. My flashlight flickered the second I stepped inside. I forced myself to the altar. Something about it felt magnetic, like I couldn't turn away. The broken crucifix lay where it had before, but now, the face of Christ was gone, chipped away. The stone beneath was blackened, as if burned. Then the chanting began. Low at first, like the rumble of a distant crowd, then clearer. Words I didn't understand, but felt deep in my bones. My skin prickled. I turned in circles, flashlight jerking wildly, but no one was there. And yet, in the beam of my light, the pews were full. Shadows, dozens of them, all facing the altar. My breath caught. I stumbled back, but the shadows didn't move. They sat, heads bowed, hands folded, like a congregation frozen in prayer. Then, slowly, they all turned their heads toward me. That's when the whispering became one voice, my name, over and over. I don't remember running, but somehow, I found myself in the sacristy again, clutching the doorframe like it could anchor me to reality. The whispers followed. That's when I saw it. In the corner of the room stood a figure, tall, cloaked in black, its face hidden. I blinked, and it was closer. I blinked again, and it was right in front of me. The smell of rot filled the air. My chest tightened as if invisible hands pressed down on me. The figure raised one long finger and pressed it against my forehead. My body convulsed. A pressure built inside my skull, like something was trying to break in. I heard words in my head, not my own, not spoken aloud. The body is a door. Open. I screamed. And then, nothing. When I woke, it was daylight. I was lying outside on the church steps, my flashlight beside me. My notebook was gone. At first, I convinced myself I had blacked out, that my mind had created the rest. But when I pulled up my sleeve, I saw 3 deep scratches down my arm. Raw, fresh. For days after, I tried to live normally. I told myself I wouldn't go back, but the church didn't let me go. At night, I dreamt of the altar, of the cloaked figure. I'd wake up with Latin phrases on my lips, words I shouldn't know. My body ached as if I had been kneeling on stone for hours. And the whispering, it followed me. Into my apartment, into my car. Sometimes I hear the faint sound of an organ playing when no music is there. I haven't gone back, but I know I will. The dreams are getting stronger. Last night I woke at 3:17 again, standing in my living room, staring at the wall. On it, written in what looked like ash, were the words, "The door is not closed." I wiped them away, but I can still see the faint outline if I look too long. I don't know if this is a haunting, a possession, or something worse. All I know is that St. Augustine's marked me. It chose me. And deep down, I know the figure will come back. The only question left is, will I resist it? Or will I finally open the door?